Welcome to Essential, a podcast for anyone who wants to learn about business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host Vishnu.
And I'm your co-host Sahil. On this show, we dive into the world of business by sharing valuable insights by interviewing successful entrepreneurs.
Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just getting started out, this podcast is for you.
Tune in to understand essential elements of building a successful business. Thank you.
Hi Anastasia, how are you?
Hi Vishnu, I'm great. Thank you very much for inviting me. How are you?
I'm really good too. Thank you so much for taking out time to speak with me today. To kick things off, can you tell me a little bit about how your life was 5-10 years ago? Because I know when I was applying to grad school, I saw a bunch of your posts on LinkedIn and Instagram because France was one of my first destinations and you were one of the first creators that I came across. But I've also noticed you lay a lot of emphasis that your life is not like this a while back. So can you maybe start with telling us about how your life was, 5-10 years ago?
Sure. I'm really glad you came across some of my content while preparing. 10 years ago, I moved to France 8 years ago. So in 2014, I graduated with a bachelor degree in economics and finance in Moscow. And most of my classmates wanted to go to London and study finance. I was that person who actually, for some reason, wanted to go to Paris and study marketing and do fashion and luxury. So I had that idea. And I came to France as a student, like everyone, like all my clients, like a lot of people who know. And I came here and learned on the way. And one of the things I realized is that I didn't pick a good school. Actually, I didn't do research. I didn't do all these things that I write about on LinkedIn today. I didn't do my research. I didn't talk to students. I didn't check a lot of important things about the school. It just looked great because it was specialized in luxury brand management. I came to Paris. I got an internship in L'Oréal. It was amazing. It was awesome. And there I actually realized that I should have done a better ranked grad school, what is in France called a Grande École. And at that moment, I had to redo everything. So I ended up in France with my visa expiring in a few weeks and without the right to stay because my diploma wasn't recognized by the state, without an internship, without a job. And I left. I thought, that's it. That's the end of it. But then I really wanted to go back to France. And I was really obsessed with that idea. It was an objective that I was waking up with every day. So I applied to all the good schools because this time I did proper research and I reapplied. And then I came back to France in 6 months, 6 months later to do my master at ESSEC.
Amazing. A lot of people do not realize that, they did not do their good research until they're done with the program and, fail to land a really good job. What led you to, find out that, oh shit, this happened. I need to do my research again and then apply to a better school?
Well, many things. Probably meeting French people and realizing that they always ask you about the school and they kind of judge you based on the school name. Then the fact that many of us, including myself, we struggled to find internships. We struggled to find the first job. And even though it's complicated for everyone, including HEC and the ESSEC students as well, but we were just not passing the screenings. And then you do a bit more of research and you understand that also there is some diploma recognition issues. Actually, that school now is recognized, so it's okay. But back 8-10 years ago, it was not. And it means you don't have the right to get a job search visa and you're not even considered as a master graduate in France. So when you realize all these things, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I didn't pick the best option that was out there.
Okay. So, that was because, so this is mainly because you had the opportunity to speak with a lot of people that were French and, were able to help you out with your experience?
Yes. And there's one more thing also when you think something's wrong. And it's if admission to the school is really easy. When you're just required to send a basic set of documents and pay, it's not good. it means it's not selective, it's not competitive, and not competitive means not very prestigious. But yes, I was surrounded by a lot of internationals and French people as well, because one thing is that I spoke French already when I came to Paris.
Okay, that's really amazing. But how do you think your life would have been different had you not made the switch to ESSEC?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you ever thought about it?
I would be very, very different. I would probably stay in Moscow for a longer time.
Mm-hmm.
I would still try to do anything possible to come back to France. So I think one of the options would have been for me to apply to Moscow office of L'Oréal, because I interned there before and it went really well, so that the door was possibly open, and then or maybe working for another kind of FMCG retail or luxury company. And then I would move to France either through work somehow or through getting an MBA. Like I would just to the MBA level, but MBA is harder to get in. It's more expensive. There's less scholarships. It's just more complicated. So I don't know. I think I would do everything possible to do that, but yeah, my life would have been definitely different.
Got it. And why France? I noticed that on a lot of your Instagram posts, you talk a lot about France. Is it just because you're very passionate and fond about the country, or are there more reasons to why business schools in France are ideal destination for students?
Well, two things. First of all, I was in love with France before I came here. I traveled here when I was a kid with my family. I started learning French in high school when I was 11. I loved everything French, and I dreamt to live in Paris one day.
Yeah. Okay.
Like because of, history and culture and books I read and films I watched. And it's just Paris was always this amazing place where I felt great and inspired. So, and it's still the case. It's been 8 years. It's still the case. So I was really fond of France. Then second thing is that France is a very good destination for international students. I publish also about other countries because there are advantages everywhere. But if you look at the rankings of best business schools in Europe overall, French schools are very present. So there are many options. Yeah.
Got it. Moving on, how was your life after business school? Because I know you did not start at Astra right away. You were a consultant for a while. Why consulting, and why the pivot from consulting to EdTech?
Oh, that's a lot of questions in one. So actually, I didn't start at Astra Admissions straight away after ESSEC, but what I started is content creation. So I had the content creation journey since like 2016, 2017. I was first just writing articles on the website, on the blog website that was read by, I don't know, 3 friends. And then I started writing about my admission to HEC, ESSEC, ACP, and other schools. Then I started developing my Instagram, and people were actually interested in the topic, and they would start asking me questions and things like that. And on parallel also, I was I was a student at ESSEC. I made my pocket money by teaching GMAT to French students, and then I eventually started coaching them to how to get to a good master. And so all this was kind of a side activity for a really long time. Eventually, after a couple of years, it started to be to bring me revenue because I would do personal consultations or admission coaching packages, and all that on parallel with my ESSEC studies, with my apprenticeship, and with my job. And it was all in Russian.
Okay.
So after ESSEC, I decided to go to consulting. And even at the moment when I was choosing where I would like to apply, for example, having a decent work-life balance was extremely important for me, because I knew I have a blog on the side. Yeah. I need to have this opportunity to work in the evenings and in the weekends on my thing. Then like things happened. My life and friends got all, settled and stable. I was having a stable, good, well-paid consulting job. I got my citizenship, and I needed a new challenge. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and for many reasons, I didn't dare do it before. One of them is not being very secure in France.
Yeah.
And so after 2 years and a half in consulting, which were really exciting, I decided to leave to scale the project further, to do the 0 to 1 step, because what my business was at the time was that I was a small Russian-speaking content creator only on Instagram, who was known in the field of admissions and all this little niche. And so I had clients coming, and I wanted to make a platform. So I wanted to scale and digitalize and automate a lot of things that I'm doing with my clients. So I applied to an incubator in Paris. I was accepted, and then I left my job and started building it. And basically, I left my job in January 2022, and 1 month later, I lost my Russian-speaking clients because Instagram was blocked, Facebook was blocked, and they couldn't pay anymore because they wouldn't be able to make transfers. And so I pivoted at Astra Admissions much faster to the international market. Like I wanted to do it anyway, but I had to do it faster. And I was like, okay. Anyway, it's more strategic and interesting to publish in English because I can target a lot more people. So I started from scratch. Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and now it's been a year and it's more solid. And well, I'm on the international market now, helping people from India, from Latin America, from Saudi Arabia, from a lot of countries, and it's amazing.
That's really amazing. Were you ever scared, especially when you lost all your Russian clients, because this was almost right after you lost your job, and I assume paying Russian clients would have given you some sort of stability, because this revenue was going to come in. But then when you lost everything, were you scared?
Yes, I was super scared. I still am scared. Yes, of course. Yes. Because starting from scratch, like I know my field and my niche. I have my expertise with me. I have my clients that all gave me positive reviews. They're all happy with me. But so I had this basis that was very helpful, but still I was used to already having a strong personal brand in my niche and so on, and now I was like, okay, I'm new to this game. I have to restart. And I met a lot of inspiring creators, and that helped me a lot. I interacted with other entrepreneurs in my incubator. I got a grant from the French government to develop this. This was very supportive. Like, okay, I'm probably doing something worthy of all this effort.
That's really nice. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
I've heard a lot of people say that entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, and the only way you can keep going is by surrounding yourself with a small group of people who kind of inspire you to keep going. Did you have that? Were you able to find that group of people?
Yes, I think I'm very lucky about this, because it is a lonely journey unless you have a co-founder. I don't have a co-founder, not because I do not want a co-founder by principle, but because it's quite tricky. It's very, very engaging to share your project with someone. And I was not specifically looking for a co-founder. I potentially had a friend who was doing the same thing, and we were thinking about this, but then her journey also turned another way, and we didn't do it. So yes, it is quite lonely. Like, you're alone with your project, and even if you have some people like freelancers helping you, or I have an intern now, it's still all the strategy and the pressure. It's all on me. If it doesn't work, it's my fault. And yeah, so first of all, when I joined a program in my incubator, it's an incubator for women in tech in Paris that is called Villa. I was surrounded by other founders who were more or less on the same stage, like quite at the beginning of their projects, and of experts that I had access to, and of program managers who were there to be with us and to do follow-ups every other month. And then I also joined the group of creators in Paris that I think you know very well.
I do.
And I've met people who work on their podcasts or YouTube channels. It's thanks to discussions in this group that I started working on LinkedIn, that I improved a lot of things on my YouTube channel. So it was very useful and inspiring. And then before that, when I was still running my Russian-speaking Instagram, I've met a lot of friends through Instagram, actually. So I have a few people around me who were into content creation. And basically, whenever we meet, we start by discussing work and all this, tips and insights about this before we move to more personal things. So I'm very lucky to be surrounded by people who live the same things, either in entrepreneurship or in content creation.
That's really nice. I'm so glad you were able to meet such people, because it's very hard to do so. I have a follow-up on something you said earlier in this conversation, which is when you were looking to find a job, the work-life balance was very important to you, because, you were doing a blog on the side as well. Something about entrepreneurship is, work and life kind of become tangled with each other, especially when you're just one person working on a project by yourself, because you wake up and then you start working, you don't know when it ends. How do you draw the line between work and life?
I don't. I'm a very bad example. Like, for example, today it's Saturday. So we're recording a podcast, and then I have 2 client calls. And I also have to do a few things about video editing and stuff. So today I have a full-time work day.
Okay.
But then I would take a day off on Monday. So I'm trying to draw a line. What I love about this is the freedom and the flexibility. I do whatever I want. If I need to take an afternoon off, I do it. But the thing is, when you do entrepreneurship, it means you are very passionate about what you're doing. You're driven. Yeah. You also have a lot of pressure, because no one's going to fire you. But if you don't do stuff, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to advance your company. And basically, you're thinking about this day and night, and weekday or weekend, or when you're out, it's always there. So it's very hard to draw a line. So it's complicated for me. So I'm trying to impose a few things. For example, some sport classes in the week where I'm already signed up, so I have to go. Or meeting friends or other creators in the evening. So I have a set hour when I need to finish and things like that. But yes, of course, it's very complicated to draw a line.
Do you think it's important to draw a line?
Yes, I think it definitely is. Because I have a hard time to let myself rest and do something else. But every time I do it, you get new energy, you get inspired, you get new ideas, and then you're ready to rock it again from the next day. So it is very important. And when you do, I coach people, so I talk to them a lot. I help them. I also do content creation, so I need to produce stuff. And you can only do it when you have enough energy and resources for yourself. Like, you have to be full of energy to give out to other people, and you have to get it somewhere. And it's rest, sleep, sport, holidays, and things like that. And it's but I'm not a very good example of how to manage it, honestly.
No, I find it very cool the way you manage time, because when I look at your Instagram, I see you working a lot, but then at the same time, I also see you traveling and then dedicating a lot of time to yoga and handstands every day. That's inspiring. So I don't see a lot of entrepreneurs do that, to be very frank. So it's really cool. But talking about content creation, I saw a post by someone a week ago saying by 2030, everyone will be a content creator. either by choice or by force, because that's like the only way you can. That's like it's become so mandatory for everyone to have a personal brand at this point of time, regardless of whether you're looking for a job, because the first thing employers are going to do is look at your LinkedIn. I assume that's the case with a lot of other people when you're looking for jobs or applying to schools, even. Or if you have your own company, if it's B2C, then having a strong LinkedIn brand or Instagram has become mandatory at this point of time. Same with B2B as well. LinkedIn is where everyone is. How has your personal brand journey been like? How is it when you were only catering to Russian speakers, and how is it now?
It was really important, like the personal brand was really important in my business, but I wouldn't say it's important everywhere. I think it can be useful to many people, many founders or people who are experts and all these things. But in my specific case, or more generally, when you sell services or coaching, your individual personal expertise, it's extremely important to show personal brand and have a personal storytelling. Why are you telling this to people? So I built the whole thing around my personal story. Like I dreamt to come to France. I did all the mistakes possible. Now I'm going to tell you how not to do it. And I went to a second master. I didn't have money anymore for it, but I did it for free because I did an apprenticeship. People don't know about this. And then I coached 10, 20, 50, 100, 300 today people on how to go study abroad and find a first job, and all this build up helped a lot. It was the core of my business. And then actually when I left my job and I decided to create Astra Admissions as a startup and as a platform, one of the ideas was that I am a bit tired and stressed about the fact that everything is around me and my personal story, and I kind of want to make it a company. So in the first 2 months of the company's existence, I was communicating on Instagram, for example, from a point of view of the company as like us at Astra Admissions, us a team and stuff. And then I realized that it just works so much better when I work, when I speak from my personal point of view, and I keep building my personal brand. So I switched it back. So I switched the Instagram back to my name and added more of my personal story and stuff. Also because like Russian speaking audience is one thing, and all the English speaking audience is a totally different market. So I have to do it again. Some of my Russian audience actually moved with me to all the new platforms that I work on, but I still have to build it from scratch again. So if before maybe on the Russian market of admissions, which is a specific niche, my personal brand was like around 8 out of 10 or something like that. Now it's like 4. So there's a lot of things to construct, but it's still the core of my business. Even now, for example, I start to have really like a lot of clients. I can't manage all the files. So I started to work with mentors in my team. And it's my previous clients, actually. They used to be my clients. And it was a very scary move for me because I need to work on the files fully. Yeah. How can let anyone else do that? And basically, I'm very present in every file we work on. And I still go through the documents and read the final versions and guide the mentor, but they manage the clients. So it starts to be not only me, myself, and I, because that was the whole point of growing the company and going a bit outside of this of one person solo business.
Okay. And if someone were to build their personal brand from scratch, where do you think they should start?
Start by the topics that you're really passionate about, because you will have to create content about this on a regular basis. It's not 10 posts. It's not 15 posts. It's 2-3 texts a week, videos and stories and things like that. So find something that you can talk about to your friends for hours. And once you've found this, just keep going, keep creating, keep trying, drop the perfectionism. I know it's very hard, but and keep going and meet other creators, because it cannot be a solo journey. You will learn so much more from meeting other people. So try to get into a community of creators and keep going, because I think that consistency is extremely important, and do not let numbers and statistics discourage you, because it can really easily happen. When I work on a video, like on a Reels, together with an intern who now helps me with a lot of things, and we would work on this for long time and try to make it beautiful and useful and stuff, and then you post it, gets like 200 views. You're just so frustrated. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. Tell yourself that it happens to everyone all the time, and nobody is born with 10,000 followers, and everybody started somewhere, and everyone had chapter 1. So I think, when you mentioned it's really interesting that by 2030, everyone's going to be a content creator. Well, I don't think so, because it's very complicated to maintain the consistency and keep going and producing content that is useful and interesting and captivating, because today the competition is so strong. It's true that everyone probably wants to be a content creator. No, not true, because there are people who don't want that at all. But many of us want to do content creation because it looks like an easy job. I'm just gonna speak about stuff I like and get rich and famous fast. No, so it's a complicated journey. Basically that.
I think the not getting demotivated by views is a very hard thing to do, especially when you're getting started, because no one sees the back end of content creation. It's a very frustrating process because it's very long and time consuming, and you do hours and you put in hours of work to see something get very little views. A lot of people give up right after that. Moving on to like one last segment, which is about Ad Astra itself. How has the journey been like for you since you started it?
Very exciting. Ups and downs all the time. So I created a platform that helps international students choose the program and then prepare the file to get in. And because at some point I realized that between different individual consultations, there are a lot of same things that I repeat every time. And I love structuring things and putting them into frameworks and stuff. So I kind of made this into an online course and creating different tools for people to go through this journey. And I made a database also of MIM programs in Europe. And in the beginning, I made a very typical entrepreneur mistake. Like I created something very complicated. And clients would actually sometimes send me a message on Instagram saying, like, I don't understand. There was this subscription and then there's this and then there's that. Like, how does it work? So I was actually like simplifying a lot the product, the offer, the process, the UX. It's exciting. Every little win is amazing. You feel great. You feel very inspired. And every time it doesn't work, for example, I don't know, you launch a advertising campaign and it's doesn't work at all. It's frustrating. So it's an emotional roller coaster, but it's wonderful, especially when you start seeing things paying off, like clients coming or people telling me randomly, I follow your content on LinkedIn, I find it really useful. Wow, that's great. And then you start having international clients and they get admitted to schools, and it's wonderful. So it's a challenging journey, but no regrets.
That's really cool. I came across your content before I spoke to you. If that means anything. I found
it does.
I think like one common challenge a lot of my friends face, especially when they're looking for consultants, is they don't know which one to pick. Because when you just Google, help with study abroad, there are a ton of people that show up. How do you think one person should go about finding the right person for them?
So first of all, I do see indeed a lot of people, a lot of consultants, and of course, in the end, you should pick someone you have a good personal fit with as well. This is the whole thing about personal brand, right? If you follow the person's content and you feel like you can trust this person and he looks professional and solid, then yes, for sure. Then there are a few other things. I think that anyone who consults on these matters should have gone through the process himself. Applying somewhere, getting admitted, preparing his essays. Then, of course, the track record of clients, of positive reviews, expertise, things like that. There are a lot of specific challenges, and sometimes I see people writing really wrong stuff on the internet about this. And one last thing I would say is that a lot of people that I also know personally that sometimes came to me afterwards as clients, they fall in the trap of free consultants that are paid by schools. Because schools pay them to bring the leads. And it's usually schools that are very expensive and that are not very prestigious because London Business School, Bocconi, and the HEC do not really need to advertise and pay anyone to bring the leads in, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always like telling people to be very careful about this scheme. Because nothing is free. If a consultant wants to do admission consulting for you for free, something's wrong. And sometimes they wouldn't guide you properly. Like they would push you to the schools that are not the best fit for you. And this is something that in my incubator, for example, I got asked a lot, like, oh, why don't you want to partner up with some schools? And I'm like, well, I don't think that ethically this is how I want to build my company. I want to be objective and tell people that your profile is awesome. Go to HEC. So that's a little warning I have on the market. But otherwise, I know that to pick a consultant, you have to follow his content for a while and see if it feel good about it or not. So do it and find the person who you have a fit with, because I think I had a really nice personal fit with all of my clients.
That's really interesting. I could relate with the partnerships part because I think there are like 3 or 4 very, very huge consulting brands in India that focus for going abroad for your education, and they have these open days where you're supposed to go and speak to them about your future. And then they give you, I think, a set of 10, 15 brochures. These are colleges you've never heard of in your life. And if you Google them, nothing comes up.
Wow.
And these are the only colleges they recommend to you. You've never heard, they never talk about the Harvard, Stanford, or, HEC, LBS, which is really crazy. And the biggest challenge is a lot of people that go to them for SAT coaching. So this is right after high school. So they're like 16, 17-year-olds. They do not, they don't have the understanding necessary to do research as well. Because I, as a 22-year-old, can do research about grad programs, but for people who are going abroad for undergraduate, they have no idea. So they just end up paying $200,000 to go study in the US at some random college and then end up coming back.
This is so like, I find it so frustrating on this market. The whole point of my project is to make people go to the best possible programs. So yeah, guys, do your research anyway. If you pick or not, just do your research. Be very careful about this. This is a milestone in your academic and professional career, so very important.
It's super expensive as well. It's a very big investment for a lot of people.
For sure.
But to maybe close things, can you tell us how people can reach out to you? Contact you and Anastasia as well, and I can link them.
So I have an Instagram that I don't know, maybe will be in the description of the video. And I also write on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me there. And I have a YouTube channel at Astra Admissions, and I hope you'll find it useful and inspiring.